میزند بی تو مرا این خاطرات روز و شب درد پیگیر من است سبول علا جنی همین درد بی درمان شنیدی حال من یعنی همین بی تو بودن درد دارد میزند مرا زمین میزند بی تو مرا بی خاطرات روز و شب درد پیگیر من است زبور را جنین
Sorry, this is a bit. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. Good evening, and welcome to another reading of 1001 Nights. A project that we started during the first lockdown last year in March 2020. Back then, I would joke with Joanna and say, oh, can you imagine by the time we're done reading, the pandemic might be over, haha. Well, there's not much haha left anymore. We're pretty much, it's several volumes, so we're pretty much at more than a third of the book by now. Yeah, well, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that we'll be back to whatever normal we think life should be before we finish all the volumes of this beautiful, beautiful book. If you don't know which translation it is actually the most famous and most important one by Sir Richard Francis Burton. And these are my lovely flowers. Look, I actually buy myself flowers every week. And I really wanted to show you that. Look at that. They look like the sun, don't they? So, all right. It will be a short reading tonight because we are nearing the end of volume 4. So, as Joanna usually says, oh my God, why am I sitting like that? Who's sending the likes? Thanks for the likes. That's cute. Enjoy the reading. Now when it was the 355th night, she said, it hath reached me, O auspicious king, that quoth the lady, O Wardan, which of the two courses wouldst thou take? Either obey me in what I shall say, and be the means of thine own safety and competency to the end of thy days, or gainsay me, and so cause thine own destruction. Answered I choose rather to hearken unto thee, say what thou wilt. Quoth she, then slay me, as thou hast slain despair, and take thy need of this hoard, and went their ways. Quoth I am better than despair. So return thou to Allah Almighty, and repent, and I will marry thee, and we will live on this treasure the rest of our lives. Thanks for the hearts. She rejoined, O Wardan, far be it from me. How shall I live after him? By Allah, and thou slay me not, I will assuredly do away thy life. So leave bandying words with me, or thou art a lost man. This is all I have to say to thee, and peace be with thee. Then said I will kill thee, and thou shalt go to the curse of Allah. So saying, I caught her by the hair and cut her throat. And she went to the curse of Allah, and of the angels, and of all mankind. And after so doing, I examined the place, and found there gold and bezel stones and pearls, such as no one king could bring together. So I filled the porter's crate with as much as I could carry, and covered it with the clothes I had on me. Then I shouldered it, and going up out of the underground treasure chamber, fared homewards, and ceased not faring on, till I came to the gate of Cairo, where behold, I fell in with 10 of the bodyguard of Al-Hakim bi-Amrillah, followed by the prince himself, who said to me, Ho, Wardan. At thy service, O king, replied I, when he asked, Hast thou killed the bear and the lady? And I answered, Yes. Quoth he, Set down the basket from thy head, and fear naught, for all the treasure thou hast with thee is thine, and none shall dispute it with thee. So I set down the crate before him, and he uncovered it, and looked at it, then said to me, Tell me their case, how I know it, as if I had been present with you. So I told him all that had passed, and he said, Thou hast spoken the truth, adding, O Wardan, come now with me to the treasure. So I returned with him to the cavern, where he found the trapdoor closed, and said to me, O Wardan, lift it. None but thou can open the treasure, for it is enchanted in thy name and nature. Said I, By Allah, I cannot open it. But he said, Go up to it. Trusting is the blessing of Allah. So I called upon the name of Almighty Allah, and advancing to the trapdoor, put my hand to it, whereupon it came up as it had been of the lightest. Then said the Caliph, Go down and bring hither what is there, for none but one of thy name and semblance and nature hath gone down thither since the place was made. And the slaying of the bear and the woman was appointed to be at thy hand. This was chronicled with me, and I was awaiting its fulfillment. Accordingly, quoth Wardan, I went down and brought up all the treasure, whereupon the Caliph sent for beasts of burden and carried it away, after giving me my crate with what was therein. So I bore it home, and opened me a shop in the market, and, saith he who telleth the tale, this market is still extant, and is known as Wardan's market. And I have heard recount another story of, this one's a dirty one, the king's daughter and the ape. There was once a sultan's daughter whose heart was taken with love of a slave. He abated her maidenhead, and she became passionately addicted to futtering, so that she could not do without it a single hour. Excuse me. And complained of her case to one of her body women, who told her that no thing poketh and stroketh more abundantly than the baboon. Now it so chanced one day that an ape leader passed under her lattice with a great ape. So she unveiled her face, and looking upon the ape, signed to him with her eyes. Whereupon he broke his bonds and chain, and climbed up to the princess, who hid him in a place with he. And night and day he abode there, eating and drinking and copulating. Her father heard of this and would have killed her. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased to say her permitted say. Now when it was the 356th night, she said, "It hath reached me, auspicious king, that when the Sultan heard of this work, he would have slain his daughter, but she smoked his design, and disguising herself in Mameluke's dress, mounted horse after loading a mule with gold and bullion and precious stuffs past all account, then carrying with her the ape, she fled to Cairo, where she took up her abode in one of the houses without the city, and upon the verge of the Suez desert. Now every day she used to buy meat of a young man, a butcher, but she came not to him till after noonday. And then she was so yellow and disordered in face that he said in his mind, "There must indeed hang some mystery by this slave." Accordingly, quoth the butcher, "One day when she came to me as usual, I went out after her secretly, and ceased not to follow her from place to place, so as she saw me not, till she came to her lodging on the edge of her waste and entered. And I looked in upon her through a cranny, and saw her, as soon as she was at home, kindle a fire and cook the meat, of which she ate enough, and served up the rest to a baboon she had by her, and he did the same. Then she put off the slave's habit, and donned the richest of women's apparel, and so I knew that she was a lady. After this, she set on wine and drank, and gave the ape to drink, and he stroked her nigh 60 times without drawing, till she swooned away, when he spread over her a silken coverlet and returned to his place. Then I went down in the midst of the place, and the ape, becoming aware of me, would have torn me in pieces, but I made haste to pull out my knife and slit his paunch, and his bowels fell out. The noise aroused the young lady, who awoke terrified and trembling, and when she saw the ape in this case, she shrieked such a shriek that her soul well nigh fled her body. Then she fell down in a fainting fit, And when she came to herself, she said to me, "What moved thee to do thus? Now Allah upon thee send me after him." But I spoke her fair for a while, and pledged myself to stand in the ape's stead in the matter of much poking, till her trouble subsided, and I took her to wife. But when I came to perform my promise, I proved a failure, and I fell short in this matter and could not endure such hard labor. So I complained of my case and mentioned her exorbitant requirements to a certain old woman who engaged to manage the affair, and said to me, "Needs must thou bring me a cooking pot full of virgin vinegar, and a pound of the herb pellitory, called woundwort." So I brought her what she sought, and she laid the pellitory in the pot with the vinegar, and set it on the fire till it was thoroughly boiled. Then she bade me futter the girl, and I futtered her till she fainted away, when the old woman took her up, and she unconscious, and set her parts to the mouth of the cooking pot. The steam of the pot entered her slit, and there fell from it somewhat, which I examined. And behold, it was 2 small worms, one black and the other yellow. Quoth the old woman, "The black was bred of the strokings of a slave, and the yellow of stroking with the baboon." Now when she recovered from her swoon, she abode with me in all delight and solace of life, and sought not striving as before, but Allah had done away from her this appetite, whereat I marveled. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day, and ceased saying her permitted say. That was a weird story. A baboon and a princess, who would have thought? Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the stories. I see some comments. Let me just go through this right now. Amir Persis is saying salam. Nice voice. Oh, thank you, Amir. Please read Shirin and Fahad too. Ooh. Dear Amir, I will look into it. We have, I think, about 12 volumes in total, if I'm not mistaken. We are not familiar with the book, so we're actually reading as we go. So I need to look up and see where Shirin and Fahad are located in the volumes, and I will let you know. Please just give me a day time. I need to go and feed the kitty cats. Everyone else, thanks a lot for tuning in. I wish you a wonderful night, day, evening, regardless of where you are in the world. I hope you enjoy my beautiful flowers just as much as I do. Buy yourself some flowers. Yeah, you should really buy yourself some flowers. Sending you much love from Vienna. And as usual, remember to go inwards instead of outwards. Thanks a lot. Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.